The emergency room smelled like antiseptic and desperation. Amanda wiped down the nurse's station counter, her movements practiced after another 12-hour shift. Her scrubs hung loose on her frame. She'd lost weight since Ade was born, the kind of weight that comes from choosing between groceries and rent. "Nurse," the voice cut through the steady beep of monitors, sharp, entitled. Amanda turned. A woman in a cream Chanel suit stood near the triage desk, her diamond bracelet catching the fluorescent lights. Mid-50s, with the kind of face that came from good genes and better surgeons. "I've been waiting 20 minutes, the woman said, not bothering with pleasantries. "Do you people not understand who I am?" Amanda approached with her practiced smile, the one that cost her nothing but saved her everything. "I'm sorry for the wait, ma'am. Let me check on." "Victoria Hastings." The name dropped like a challenge. "My husband owns half the buildings in this city. I need to see a doctor now. Behind them, an elderly man clutched his chest. A child cried somewhere in the waiting area. Amanda glanced at the triage board, 2 heart attacks, a stroke, a car accident victim in surgery. "Ma'am, I understand you're frustrated, but we're operating on a priority basis based on medical." The slap came without warning. Amanda's head snapped to the side, her cheek exploding in heat. The ER went silent. Even the monitors seemed to pause. "Don't you dare lecture me about priorities," Victoria hissed. "You're probably on welfare, living off my taxes. Know your place." Amanda's hand trembled as she touched her face. 6 years of nursing school. 6 years of double shifts and food stamps and sleeping 3 hours a night with Ade curled against her side. 6 years of being invisible. "I need you to leave," Amanda said quietly, too quietly. "Excuse me." "You assaulted a medical professional. I'm asking you to leave, or I'll call security." Victoria laughed, the sound like breaking glass. "Call whoever you want. My lawyers will have you scrubbing toilets by Monday, if you even still have a job." Amanda reached for the phone. Her hand was still shaking. "Is there a problem here?" The voice came from behind Victoria, low, controlled, with an accent that turned the edges soft. Amanda looked up. He was tall for a Korean man, maybe 6 feet, dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than Amanda's car. His face was all sharp angles and careful neutrality, but his eyes were locked on Victoria with an intensity that made Amanda's breath catch. "This is a private matter," Victoria said, spinning around. Her confidence faltered when she saw him. "I'm handling it." "You struck a nurse." Not a question. A statement of fact delivered like a verdict. "She was being insolent. I don't know who you think you are, but—" "Jin Park." He said his name the way other people might say checkmate asterisk. "And you're going to apologize to this woman, then you're going to leave." Victoria's face cycled through emotions, confusion, recognition, fear. "The Jin Park? My husband does business with your people. We've donated to several." "Apologize." The word hung in the air like a blade. Victoria turned to Amanda, her expression curdled. "I apologize for my behavior. Now leave." Victoria left, practically ran, her heels clicking a frantic rhythm across the linoleum. Amanda exhaled, realizing she'd been holding her breath. She turned to the man, Jin Park, and found him watching her with an expression she couldn't read. "Thank you," she managed. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." He tilted his head slightly, studying her. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine. It's not the first time someone's—" She trailed off. Why was she telling him this? "It should be the last." Something flickered in his eyes, anger maybe, but controlled, precise. "What's your name?" Amanda Cole." "Amanda." The way he said it made her name sound like something valuable. "You handle yourself well under pressure." "Nursing school. You learn to keep calm when people are literally dying in front of you." A small smile touched his mouth. "I understand. I work in a similar field." Later, Amanda would remember that moment, the way he described it. Not a lie exactly, just truth wearing a mask. "I should get back to work," she said. though something in her wanted to keep talking to this stranger who'd stepped into her nightmare and made it end. Of course. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a card. Black, minimalist, just a name and number. If that woman causes you any problems, or her lawyers, call me. Amanda took the card, their fingers brushing. I can't afford. You won't need to. He turned to leave, then paused. Your cheek is swelling, put ice on it. Then he was gone, disappearing into the ER chaos like he'd never been there at all. Amanda looked down at the card in her hand. Jin Park. No title, no company name, just a phone number and a promise. She slipped it into her pocket and returned to work, not knowing that her life had just tilted off its axis. Not knowing that Victoria Hastings was already making phone calls, pulling strings, preparing her revenge. Not knowing that Jin Park was sitting in his car in the parking lot, watching the ER entrance, his phone pressed to his ear. Find out everything about her, he said in Korean. Amanda Cole, night shift nurse, and keep someone on her, 24/7. He ended the call and stared at the card's twin in his hand, remembering the way she'd stood her ground even while trembling. The way she'd protected her dignity with nothing but quiet words. He'd come to the hospital for business. He was leaving with something else entirely. 3 days later, Amanda found the envelope taped to her apartment door. She juggled her purse, a Des backpack, and the groceries she'd grabbed from the discount store, fishing for her keys. The envelope was cream-colored, expensive paper, her name written in elegant script across the front. Mommy, I'm hungry, Ade whined, tugging at her scrub pants. I know, baby. Give me 1 second. Inside the apartment, 1 bedroom, peeling paint, but clean and hers, she set it up with crackers and turned the envelope over in her hands. No return address. No postage. Someone had hand-delivered it. Her stomach twisted as she opened it. A single page, typed on letterhead she recognized, Mercy General Hospital. Dear Ms. Cole *. Following a complaint filed by a hospital benefactor regarding unprofessional conduct and patient neglect, we are conducting a formal investigation into your behavior on the evening of November 3rd. You are hereby placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. Your shifts have been reassigned effective immediately. The page slipped from her fingers. Administrative leave. No shifts meant no paycheck. No paycheck meant. Mommy, Ade's voice seemed to come from very far away. Why are you crying? She wasn't, but when she touched her face, her fingers came away wet. Amanda pulled her son close, breathing in the strawberry scent of his shampoo. 6 years old and already learning that the world wasn't fair, that people like them had to be perfect just to survive, and even then it sometimes wasn't enough. The card Jin Park had given her was still in her work bag. She'd looked at it a dozen times over the past 3 days, always stopping short of calling. She didn't need a stranger's charity, didn't need to owe anyone anything. But now, she picked up her phone before she could talk herself out of it. He answered on the second ring. Amanda. Not hello or who is this, just her name like he'd been expecting her call. How did you know it was me? I know a lot of things. A pause. What happened? I shouldn't have called. This isn't your problem. Tell me anyway. So she did. The words spilling out, the letter, the investigation, the administrative leave that was really just a polite firing. Victoria Hastings making good on her threat. Jin listened without interrupting. When she finished, the silence stretched long enough that Amanda almost hung up. Where do you live? He finally asked. I can't, that's not why I called, I don't even know why I called. Yes, you do. You called because you need help and I offered it. Now give me your address. Something in his voice made arguing seem pointless. She gave it to him. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Don't go anywhere. He hung up before she could protest. Amanda stared at her phone, wondering what she'd just set in motion. Wondering who Jin Park really was, and why a man in a $1,000 suit cared about a broke nurse from the wrong side of town. She didn't have to wonder long. Jin arrived in 20 minutes, not 30. Amanda watched from her window as a black Mercedes pulled up to the curb, the kind of car that didn't belong in this neighborhood, the kind that attracted attention. He stepped out, and she noticed for the first time the way he moved, controlled, aware, like someone used to being watched. 2 other cars pulled up behind his. Men in dark suits emerged, taking positions along the street. What the hell? Amanda met him at the door before he could knock, not wanting to wake Ade, who'd finally fallen asleep on the couch. Jin stood in the hallway, somehow making the cramped space seem smaller just by being in it. His eyes swept over her, the old jeans, the faded Howard University t-shirt, the exhaustion she couldn't hide, and something in his expression softened. "May I come in?" She stepped aside. He entered, and she was suddenly hyper-aware of everything wrong with her apartment. The crack in the ceiling, the second-hand furniture, the stack of past-due bills on the counter she'd meant to hide. Jin noticed none of it, or pretended not to. His gaze landed on Ade, sleeping with his mouth open, one small hand curled under his cheek. "Your son?" "Yes, Ade." "He looks like you." Amanda crossed her arms. "Why are you really here, Mr. Park?" "Jin, just Jin." He turned to face her fully. "Victoria Hastings won't stop with getting you fired. She'll blacklist you from every hospital in the city. She'll make sure you never work as a nurse again." The words hit like punches. "How do you know that?" "Because I know her type, and because I had her investigated after she left the hospital." He pulled out his phone, showed her a screen full of text. "She's done it before, 3 times. A valet who scratched her car, a restaurant server who got her order wrong, a housekeeper who broke a vase." Amanda's legs felt weak. She sat down on the arm of the couch. "So what do I do?" "You let me handle it." "I can't afford." "I'm not asking you to pay me, Amanda." Jin moved closer, crouched down so they were eye level. This close, she could see the scar along his jawline faded but there. "Let me help you. No strings, no debt." "Why?" The word came out as a whisper. "You don't even know me." His expression did something complicated. "No, but I'd like to." The air between them charged with something Amanda couldn't name. Shouldn't name, because men like him didn't look at women like her the way he was looking at her now. "Who are you?" she asked. "Really?" Jin stood, creating distance. "Someone who can make this problem disappear." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I can give you right now." He moved toward the door, then stopped. "Trust me, Amanda, just for a few days. Let me fix this." She should say no, should tell him to leave and never come back, should handle this herself the way she'd handled everything else in her life, alone, barely, but standing. "Okay," she heard herself say instead. Jin nodded, something like relief crossing his face. "Good, I'll call you tomorrow." He left, and Amanda locked the door behind him, her heart hammering. Through the window, she watched him pause beside his car, phone already to his ear. Watched his expression shift into something cold and hard and dangerous. Then he looked up, straight at her window, and the expression vanished. He raised his hand in a small wave. Amanda stepped back from the glass, pulse racing. Downstairs, Jin spoke rapid Korean into his phone. "Find everything on Victoria Hastings. Financial records, phone logs, emails, everything she's ever done that she wouldn't want public." A pause. "And double the security on Amanda Cole's building. I want eyes on her every second." Another pause. "Because she's mine now," Jin said softly, "and no one touches what's mine." The call came at 2 a.m. Amanda jerked awake, heart pounding, hand fumbling for her phone. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. "Hello?" "Amanda Cole," a woman's voice, professional but urgent. "This is Officer Martinez with the NYPD. We need you to come down to the station. It's about your son." The world tilted. "What? Ade is right here, he's..." Amanda sprinted to the couch. Empty. The blanket she'd tucked around him lay crumpled on the floor. "Ade," she tore through the apartment, bathroom, bedroom, kitchen. "ADE. "Ms. Cole, please stay calm. Your son is safe. He's here at the precinct." A patrol car found him 2 blocks from your building at 1:30 a.m. He was alone. The phone slipped through Amanda's shaking fingers. She caught it, pressed it back to her ear. That's impossible. I locked the door. How did he? We need you to come down and pick him up. There are some questions. Amanda was already grabbing her keys, her wallet, not bothering with shoes beyond the sneakers by the door. Her mind raced. Adele wouldn't leave on his own. He was terrified of the dark. Someone had taken him. Someone had. She yanked open her apartment door and nearly collided with a man in a black suit. Ms. Cole. He was one of Jin's people. She recognized him from the cars. Mr. Park sent me. I'll drive you. How did you know about? The words tangled. Nothing made sense. The precinct. I know, come with me. The drive took 8 minutes. 8 minutes of Amanda's thoughts spiraling into nightmare scenarios. Child services, an investigation, someone claiming she was unfit, negligent, someone trying to take Ada away. Victoria Hastings could do that, would do that. The precinct was fluorescent bright and institutional. A female officer led Amanda to a small room where Ada sat wrapped in a blanket that swallowed his small frame, a cup of hot chocolate untouched on the table. Mommy! He launched himself at her, and Amanda caught him, held him so tight he squeaked. Baby, what happened? How did you get outside? The nice lady said you were hurt. She said I needed to come with her to see you. Ade's voice was muffled against her shoulder. But then she left me on the street and I got scared and I couldn't find our building and... What nice lady? Ice flooded Amanda's veins. What did she look like? Old. She had yellow hair and pretty jewels. Officer Martinez appeared in the doorway. Ms. Cole, we need to talk about your home security. Your door was still locked when we checked. We're not sure how your son got out. Someone took him. Amanda's voice came out flat, dead. Someone came into my apartment and took my 6-year-old son. That's a serious allegation. Do you have any proof? Yes. Jin's voice cut through the room like a blade. Everyone turned. He stood in the doorway, impossibly composed at 2 a.m, holding a tablet. Behind him, 2 more men in suits blocked the hallway. Mr. Park, you can't be back here, Martinez said, but she didn't sound convinced. Jin ignored her, crossing to Amanda. His eyes swept over her and Ade, checking, assessing. Then he turned the tablet around. Security footage. Grainy but clear enough. A woman in a dark coat and scarf entering Amanda's building through the service entrance at 1:15 a.m. The same woman leaving at 1:22, holding a small boy's hand. Building security cameras, Jin said. The ones the landlord claims don't work. They work fine. Martinez leaned in, squinting. We'll need to analyze this. Ms. Cole, do you recognize this woman? Amanda watched the footage again. The way the woman moved, the tilt of her head. It could be Victoria Hastings, but she's covered, I can't be sure. I can. Jin swiped to another image. A still frame, enhanced, showing the woman's wrist as she opened the stairwell door. A diamond bracelet caught the dim light. The same bracelet Victoria had been wearing at the hospital. This is kidnapping, Jin said quietly. Federal offense. I have 3 witnesses who can place Victoria Hastings in this neighborhood tonight. I have phone records showing she called a car service at 12:45 a.m. with instructions to wait near this address. He looked at Martinez. And I have a very expensive lawyer who's very interested in why the police aren't already issuing a warrant. Martinez's jaw tightened. I'll need to speak with my sergeant. You do that. Jin's tone suggested it wasn't a request. When the officer left, Jin crouched down to Ade's level. Are you okay? Ade nodded, pressing closer to Amanda. Who are you? A friend of your mother's. My name is Jin. Like the Jinny. A ghost of a smile touched Jin's mouth. Something like that. Amanda's hand found Jin's shoulder without her meaning to. Thank you. I don't know how you. Later, he stood, his hand covering hers briefly. We need to get you both somewhere safe. Safe, this is my home. Not anymore. Jin's expression was granite. Victoria Hastings just committed a federal crime out of spite. She's escalating. The next step, He cut himself off, glancing at Ade. You can't stay here. I don't have anywhere else to go. I can't afford. You're coming home with me. The words hung in the small interrogation room. I can't do that, Amanda said automatically. Yes, you can, you will. Jin's voice softened. Please, Amanda, my house has security, guards, cameras that actually work. Let me keep you safe while we handle this. You don't even know us. I know enough. What he knew, Amanda realized, was more than he should. The security footage had been too ready, too enhanced. He'd known about the phone records too quickly. This wasn't casual help. This was... What do you really do? She asked. And don't give me that vague answer again. Jin was quiet for a long moment, his eyes holding hers. I run a family business, import-export mostly, some investments, some private security consulting. It wasn't a lie, exactly, but it wasn't the whole truth either. Amanda could feel the shape of what he wasn't saying. The men outside, the way that officer looked at you, the way Victoria Hastings looked at you in the hospital. Amanda pulled Ade closer. You're not just some businessman. No, Jin admitted, I'm not. Should I be scared of you? He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was rough. You should be smart about me, careful but scared. He shook his head. Never of me, I would never hurt you or your son. But you'd hurt other people. To protect what's mine, yes, without hesitation. The honesty was almost worse than a lie would have been. Amanda looked at her son, then at the stranger who'd somehow become their only lifeline in 3 days. If I say yes, she said slowly, I need to understand what I'm saying yes to. You're saying yes to being safe, to Victoria Hastings being handled, to your son sleeping through the night without someone stealing him from his bed. Jin's voice was quiet but intense. You're saying yes to letting me help you, that's all. And what do you get out of it? Jin's expression did that complicated thing again, the one that made Amanda's breath catch. The satisfaction of watching that woman pay for what she did to you. For now, that's enough. Officer Martinez returned with another cop, this one with sergeant stripes. Ms. Cole, we're issuing an arrest warrant for Victoria Hastings. We'll need you to come in tomorrow to give a full statement. She won't be available tomorrow, Jin said. The sergeant bristled. Excuse me. She's going into protective custody, private security. You can take her statement at her new location. Jin handed over a business card. Call that number, they'll coordinate. Amanda waited for the sergeant to argue. Instead, he glanced at the card and his face went carefully neutral. Of course, Mr. Park, we'll be in touch. As they left the precinct, Ade falling asleep against Amanda's shoulder, she wondered what kind of power Jin Park really wielded. What kind of name made cops back down and disappear Victoria Hastings' security footage into existence? The kind of power, she suspected, that came with a price. Jin's car was warm, leather seats and tinted windows. Amanda watched the city slide past, Ade's weight solid and real against her. What aren't you telling me? She asked quietly. Jin's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Everything I'm not telling you is to keep you safe, including safe from knowing too much. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have tonight. They drove in silence to a part of the city Amanda had only seen from highway overpasses, where houses had gates and grounds instead of yards, where the streets had names instead of numbers. Jin's house rose behind iron gates and stone walls, modern and sleek, all glass and steel that somehow didn't feel cold. Welcome home, he said, and something in the way he said it made Amanda's stomach flip. This wasn't just shelter. This was a threshold. And once she crossed it, she suspected, there would be no going back. The bedroom Jin led them to was bigger than Amanda's entire apartment. Ade was already asleep, dead weight in her arms. Jin pulled back the covers on a bed that looked like it belonged in a luxury hotel, white linens, pillows that probably cost more than her monthly rent used to be. There's a connecting room through there. Jin gestured to a door Amanda hadn't noticed. For you, bathrooms stocked with everything. If you need anything else, press 9 on the phone. Who answers? Someone who works for me. Amanda laid Ade down carefully, pulled the duvet over him. Her son didn't stir. When she turned, Jin was watching her with an expression that made her heart skip. "Why are you really doing this?" she asked. Jin stepped closer, near enough that she could smell his cologne, something subtle and expensive. "Do you believe in fate, Amanda?" "I believe in working 3 jobs to keep the lights on. I believe in making your own luck." "What if I told you I walked into that hospital for a meeting I didn't want to take, that I was supposed to be in Seoul that night, but my flight got delayed?" His voice dropped. "What if I told you I saw you handle that woman with more grace than she deserved, and something in my chest just stopped?" Amanda's breath caught. "Jin, I know how this looks. Rich man, woman in trouble, but that's not what this is." He lifted his hand like he might touch her face, then dropped it. "I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. 3 days and you're all I see." "You don't know me." "Then let me—" His eyes were dark, intense. "Stay here, not just tonight. Stay while we handle Victoria Hastings. Stay while you figure out what's next. Just stay." Every rational part of Amanda's brain screamed that this was crazy. You didn't move into a stranger's house. You didn't trust a man who commanded cops and had security teams and whose family business probably involved things she was better off not knowing. But the irrational part, the part that had been alone for so long, that had carried every burden by herself, that was so tired of being strong, that part whispered yes. "1 week," she heard herself say. "We'll stay 1 week until this blows over." Jin's smile was small but genuine. 1 week, deal. He left her in the connecting room, which turned out to be just as luxurious. Amanda stood under a shower that had 6 different settings and water pressure that felt like a massage, and let herself cry. For the relief, for the fear, for how close she'd come to losing Ade tonight. For how natural it had felt when Jin had touched her shoulder, when he'd looked at her like she was something precious. She didn't hear him moving around the house. Didn't know that Jin was in his office 3 floors down, surrounded by men who'd bled for him, speaking in rapid Korean. "Victoria Hastings is at her penthouse," one of them reported. "Police haven't moved on the warrant yet. They're stalling." Her husband made calls. Jin's voice was ice. Probably to the mayor, the police commissioner, trying to make this disappear. "Do we handle it our way?" Jin was quiet, thinking. His way would be quick, efficient, permanent. But Amanda would know, and she'd look at him differently. The way everyone eventually looked at him once they understood what he really was. "Not yet, we do this clean first. Legal." He looked up. "Get me everything on Robert Hastings. Every shady deal, every mistress, every tax shelter. If his wife goes down, he goes down with her. And if that doesn't work, then we handle it my way." The men nodded and dispersed. Jin sat alone in his office, looking at the security monitor showing Amanda's room. She was sitting on the bed, head in her hands, shoulders shaking. He wanted to go to her, wanted to pull her into his arms and promise that nothing would ever hurt her again. But that would reveal too much, too soon. Would show her the depth of an obsession that had started the moment he'd seen her refuse to break under Victoria Hastings' cruelty. Jin had built an empire on control, on calculated moves and strategic patience. But Amanda Cole made him want to burn the world down for a smile. His phone buzzed. A text from his brother in Seoul. "Mother wants to know when you're coming home. The Choi family is still waiting for your answer about their daughter." The arranged marriage. He'd been avoiding it for months, using business as an excuse. His family was traditional. They expected him to marry Korean, to produce heirs, to maintain the bloodline. They would never accept Amanda. Jin deleted the text without responding. Morning came with sunlight streaming through windows Amanda had forgotten to cover. She jerked awake, disoriented before remembering. Jin's house. Safety. Ade. She padded into the connecting room. Ade was awake, sitting up in bed, staring around with huge eyes. "Mommy, are we rich now?" Despite everything, Amanda laughed. "No, baby, we're just staying with a friend." The genie man. His name is Jin, and yes. A soft knock on the door. Amanda opened it to find a woman in her 50s, Korean, with kind eyes and an apron. Good morning, I'm Mrs. Kim, the housekeeper. Mr. Park asked me to bring breakfast and some clothes. She gestured to a rolling rack behind her loaded with outfits. He wasn't sure of your sizes, so he got several options. Amanda stared. Designer labels she recognized from magazines. Clothes that cost more than her nursing school tuition. This is too much. Mr. Park insisted. He said, Mrs. Kim smiled. He said to tell you that you're not accepting charity, you're accepting hospitality. There's a difference. After Mrs. Kim left, Amanda sorted through the clothes. Everything from casual to formal, all in her size. Either Jin was an excellent guesser, or he'd had her measured somehow. She wasn't sure which was more disturbing. Breakfast was served in a dining room with a view of a private garden. Jin was already there, reading something on his tablet, dressed in another perfect suit. Sleep well, he asked. Like the dead. Amanda helped Ade into a chair. The table was covered with food, American breakfast, Korean dishes, fresh fruit, pastries. This is too much. Mrs. Kim doesn't know how to cook small portions. Jin set down the tablet. Ade, do you like pancakes? Ade nodded shyly. Good, Mrs. Kim makes the best pancakes in New York. Jin smiled at the boy, and Amanda saw something soften in his face. After breakfast, there's a playroom upstairs, and a garden if you want to run around. Can I, Mommy? We'll see. Jin's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression hardened. Amanda, I need to show you something. He turned the tablet toward her. A news article, posted 20 minutes ago. Philanthropist Victoria Hastings claims harassment by hospital staff. Amanda's stomach dropped as she read. Victoria was claiming Amanda had been stalking her, making threats, using a violent boyfriend to intimidate her. The kidnapping had been twisted into a wellness check on a child living in dangerous conditions. She's lying, Amanda's voice shook. People will believe her. She has money, connections. And I have the truth. Jin took the tablet back. My lawyers are already preparing a response. We have the security footage, Ade's statement, the police report. She's digging her own grave. But in the meantime, my name is everywhere. My face. Amanda pushed away from the table, suddenly needing to move. What if the hospital sees this? What if they use it to justify firing me? Then you don't go back to that hospital. Jin stood, following her to the window. Amanda, you're one of the best trauma nurses in the city. Any hospital would be lucky to have you. I can make calls. I don't want you to make calls. The words came out sharper than she intended. I don't want to owe you. I don't want to be someone's project or what? Or whatever this is. Amanda gestured between them at the house, at everything. You've known me for 3 days, Jin. 3 days, and you're housing me, feeding me, fighting my battles. Why? What do you want from me? Jin's jaw tightened. For a moment, Amanda thought he might actually tell her the truth, all of it, whatever he was hiding. Instead, he said, I want you safe, that's all. That's not all, and we both know it. They stood there, tension crackling between them, until Mrs. Kim appeared in the doorway looking uncomfortable. Mr. Park, you have a visitor. She says it's urgent. Who? She says her name is Rachel Hastings, Victoria Hastings' daughter. Amanda's blood went cold. Jin's expression turned dangerous. Tell her, he started. I'm already here. A woman swept into the room, late 20s, blonde, designer everything, but her eyes were red like she'd been crying. I'm sorry to intrude, but my mother is about to do something terrible, and you're the only one who can stop her. Jin moved in front of Amanda instinctively. Explain, quickly. Rachel's voice trembled. My mother's meeting with someone right now, a fixer, someone who makes problems disappear. Her eyes found Amanda's. She's planning to have you killed, today, and she's going to make it look like a robbery gone wrong. The room went silent. Then Jin was moving, phone already out, barking orders in Korean. Men appeared from nowhere. The house transformed from a home into a fortress in seconds. And Amanda, holding Ade close, realized that 1 week might not be nearly enough time. Because Victoria Hastings wasn't just trying to ruin her life. She was trying to end it,